Good morning. This is the first session of December for DBA Fundamentals, and it could be different times where you're at. It's 11 a.m. Central for me. Today we have Virginia Mushkatblat back for sort of a continuation of the 2016 Intermediate SSIS, which I don't have on the title there. I was playing around with it beforehand. And she'll be extrapolating on that and doing some stuff with blobs and Azure with SSIS, so I think it's going to be some really neat stuff. Our sponsor is SentryOne, and they have some great products that you should try out. You can, to kind of help bring people into their website, they give away some great things. They've got some great articles, great blogs, because they've got about 6 or 7 MVPs. Got great educational videos. You can download a copy of Professional Plan Explorer. It is fantastic when you're looking at query plans. They will answer questions for you, free tuning advice. So go check that out. They provide the money for these sessions, and they provide the money for our giveaways. So we want you to support them as much as you can. No really new virtual group news. The contest for using our discount code, that's not until next year. But we're kind of toying around with giving away some really big prizes in June. But it's going to be things that go across the entire year, the first half of 2018. And it's going to be a combination of you need to be part of our YouTube group, part of LinkedIn, a member of our virtual group, and on the mail-in list in PASS. And that's sort of a prerequisite. After that, you get a point for every session you attend, either in here in the States or in the Down Under sessions. So are some of our new sessions that we give that are sort of automatic, which I'll talk about in a minute. So that's coming. We're going to work out the details. Also part of our Slack channel. We're going to be working out those details and introducing that in 2018. PASS has a marathon next week for Linux. So it's sort of like a mini 24 hours of PASS, but they've got 6 sessions that hones in on Linux. We had David Klee do a Linux for the SQL Server DPA. I think that's the same session he gave for us. It was a very good session. So if you're interested in that, hit that up next. I don't have a link on here. It wasn't on this particular tab, and I think I've lost it. But go to PASS and scan for PASS Linux Marathon. Here's some upcoming virtual group webinars. There's the ones going on today. There's a good one today. Well, it's at the same time as us. Don't leave. Women in Technology has one tomorrow with Power BI and architecture. That's a good one. Kevin Klein is with SentryOne. That's a good one to go to. Saturday Night SQL. Some more SSIS 2017. So I don't know who's doing that. So if you want, you can get your fill this week of SSIS 2017 if you want it. Oh, this is another one that we've got next week on the 12th. That's Down Under, so that'll be like Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then we're going to have the Microsoft SQL Server Tiger group doing an introduction on Microsoft SQL Operations. That's apparently a lot of people are liking that product. So I haven't played with it yet. Come and see what it's like. Global Italian, virtualization, database administration, doing some more Linux the same day. That may be the one that they're doing with the Linux thing. Since I just pointed out a lot of virtual groups, there's tons of topics to look at and tons of languages to work with. Give those a shot. Session recordings will be at our regular website, which is dbafun.org, and you can go to our YouTube channel at dbafun.tube.org. So try that out. The sessions will be uploaded usually one day afterwards, and if there's any scripts or any attachments, we can have that, or sometimes they go back to the website for the speaker. Okay, that'll be the end of my presentation. I'm going to introduce Virginia Mushkatblat. She has a company. Virginia, what is your company? What is it?
Hush Hush. It's
Hush Hush.
SSIS components for data masking.
She'll talk about that when she starts, but anyway, she is also a professor at what university?
California State University, Northridge.
Okay, good deal. Obviously, I'm doing this without a script. So anyway, Virginia can go into greater details on her introduction. She'll know, she knows herself much better than I do. And she also knows the topic much better than I do, so I'm just going to leave it to her. SSIS Intermediate, some 2016 stuff, some 2017 stuff, some Azure, some Blob stuff. So anyway, over to you. Let me swap over and make you the presenter and get you started. Oh, I think the way we're going to do it is we're going to save the questions for the last. So go ahead and submit all your questions, and Shane will be accumulating questions and getting them ready to give to Virginia. He'll answer any questions you have about hearing, seeing, whatever. We'll take all the basic stuff. Virginia, I'm making you the presenter. Somehow you've got to accept it. There you go. Okay.
I'm just being polite, and I'm letting you finish talking.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to shut up now and let you talk.
All right. Well, hello everybody. Hi. My name is Virginia, as Steve told you already. Last name is Mushkatblat. My native tongue is Russian, so in English I do have some accent, but please accept it. If you have any problems understanding, please chat or ask, and these questions I will answer right away. If you can wait till the end, and you will see a lot of things that I say, they will reflect on the screen, so maybe you will understand with visual better. But regardless, so I am, as Steve said, a database professional with more than 20 years experience in the field. And lately my concentration was SSIS, because what we do in my company, we take SSIS and extend it with data masking components. With upcoming GDPR, it becomes more of a focus, not for just financial or healthcare companies, but for mainstream companies that have presence in Europe, and it is enforced significantly better than what we have here now. I apologize, I have to make sure that my computer runs a second. For some reason it's not. Okay, so it's enforced better. It means that you will have to implement data masking functions. I will please ask you to look at our SSIS, CLR, and other components that we have at our data discovery tool, because now you don't have to learn many different tools. If you know SSIS, you will know how to mask your data. And with that, I will proceed into what interests you today, what we meant to present today. And we meant to present fundamentals of SSIS and beyond. This started somewhere in summer, and today we have the beyond part, because not everything fit in the prior presentation. So what did we cover last time? We covered fundamentals. We covered what SSIS is, how it does ETL. We created a very simple package exploring the SSIS features, architectures, such as control flow, data flow, parameters, variables, EDI, etc. We talked about common patterns. Meaning, what do you do with SSIS usually? How do you, for example, process multiple files? Or how you do backups with SSIS if necessary? How do you do other things, how you move data around? And I showed you some programming features of SSIS. It allows you to create expressions, and even we moved a little bit into custom components. And I was able to present two features of 2016, a better debugging and better package management. And there were many, many more, and there are two that were left. So let's look again pretty fast what 2016 new features are. First of all, I have given you a link on top of the slide that leads you to the Microsoft page that lists every single new feature of SSIS 2016. It has a lot of them. 16 is pretty rich. The richest was 2014. This is where they really introduced a lot of new features, but 2016 picked it up and kept introducing new features. So what did they do? They allowed support for always encrypted in the SSIS catalog. They allowed for better deployment. There was a very unpleasant situation when you could capture errors, but you couldn't understand what these errors related to, and we kind of now have expanded support for error column names. So now you don't always have just the code. You also always have the name. You can have a name of an error column. Then we also have something that addresses the fact that SSIS is a packaged .NET code, and as such, we need to manage it properly. So the very first attempts to do better management happened when in 2012 SSIS team introduced the project model. Now you don't have just disparate ECSX packages, but you can also create project out of them and deploy project altogether. Continuing in the same pattern of code manageability, SSIS team introduced reusable control flow, and this reusable control flow is named parts. So now you can break it into the package into manageable parts, and in each part you can introduce code and you can reuse it in other parts of the packages and projects. We covered the error names and parts in the last presentation. What was left out is there was introduction for new connectivity, and one of them I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you how to create and update blobs in Azure, just as an example of connectivity. So today I will be concentrating on always encrypted and on blobs in Azure. It also created better install experience, design experience, management experience in SQL Server Management Studio, and some other enhancements. In 2017, Microsoft team introduced scale out feature, which allows you to distribute SSIS packages onto many nodes and allows you managing execution from the master database. It has created SSIS on Linux, and I will tell you the truth, we haven't touched it yet, but as we are moving forward, we will create our components for Linux, and I will create you a new nice session. But somebody is already covering. I've seen Steve's schedule, so somebody is already covering SSIS on Linux. But if necessary, I will add to it. And there is Odata for CRM 365 and AX 365, and another name of CRM and AX 365 is CRM and AX Online. I don't know if everybody is familiar, but CRM is a customer relationship management system that Microsoft installs prepackaged, and I access their ERP system that Microsoft installs prepackaged. Right now, they don't do installs; they moved it into cloud. And in order to get into cloud, you need to connect via web services. So they have created a data component that helps you to do just that. I believe they only have source. I didn't see the destination for that yet. So, but I didn't research these features in depth. Also, if you're familiar with Data Factory concept, Data Factory is Azure tool that allows you to use services to move data around. And services is not batch processing tools. Services is an instant transaction. You move one data, you move one atomic data, and then you move another atomic data. And then for the batch transaction, however, they retain the ability to work with SSIS. And they moved the SSIS into Data Factory as well. And as well, they extended connectivity to the cloud with SSIS. It now supports not just the blobs, but also a data lake. So how do we do? Now we have about 133 people here. Okay, so let's proceed now to the features. As I said, today's scope is SSIS and Azure, working with blobs in Azure, and utilizing always-on encryption model with SSIS. As such, I will have to tell you first what blobs are, how to create them, and then I will show you how to update blobs. Okay, and also for always-on encryption utilization, I will show you how to set up always-on encryption, and then I will show you how SSIS can access data in encrypted or non-encrypted way. I will basically explain you the architecture of SSIS as being an always-on encryption client. All these features are expanded with the feature pack for SSIS BI. This is how you do get them. You need to have a feature pack to have them. And as you can see, there are many things in Azure that SSIS integration services communicates with. There are web apps, machine learning, HD Insight. This is your big data, which is Hadoop. Everybody knows about this little elephant, right? So there was a guy who wanted to do a new way of handling data. I believe he worked for Yahoo, and or maybe not, but I believe for Yahoo. So he came up with a mechanism of instant failover. So data is always there. It's instant redundancy. So what he said, no databases, no complex stuff, just the big files, and we create an ability to fail over. So with that mechanism, it was pretty revolutionary for companies that had to handle a lot of non-structured data, such as search queries. But you know, in order to present it to the world, he had to figure out a name, and he had a yellow elephant toy of his kids, and he got this elephant toy as an emblem, as a branding for Hadoop, and called it Hadoop. I believe Hadoop was the name of the toy. I have no idea what it means, but it survived, and now HD Insights, HD stands for Hadoop. So, but we will be concentrating on not such a complex thing as Hadoop. Hadoop probably needs a couple sessions on its own to look at it and expand on it. So what we will be doing, we'll be talking about a bit simpler storage, which also allows you to save files, large files, and the storage is called Blob. Again, first I probably have to tell you what Blob is, and you can have very extensive description on the blobs on the Microsoft website. I'm providing you with a link here. So everything that I'm going to be talking today is in that blog, almost everything. So in this blog, but I will be trying to structure the information, and I will show you the Azure itself, real Azure, and how it looks in the interface. So what is Blob? Blob is a storage structure which is created for storing large amounts of unstructured object data. And unstructured object data is either text or binary data. We access blobs via HTTP or HTTPS, and it can also be accessed via private access. So in order to create blob, you will have to go to Azure portal, click on New. From New, you will go to Storage, and from Storage, you will choose the one storage type that you're interested in, and storage account will be Blob. So let me switch to Azure, and I will show you how it actually looks like. So what you will do, you will go and click on New again, and here you will say, okay, here you have a lot of different resources, and which one? The one you want is the storage, and in the storage you will have storage accounts: Blob, table, file, query, and you can have a quick start tutorial right here. So you can click and see what to do with it. They will show you. I already did this. Operation, but when you click on it, you get a panel with the fields. Can you see? Shall I? Well, I will increase it a little bit so you can see better. So you have a variety of fields here that you will have to fill in, including name, deployment model, account kind, performance, replication, secure transfer required, subscription, resource group, allocation, and virtual network. So why don't I switch back to slides? Yes, this was the slide. Here we go. And my next slide actually explains to you what these fields need to have as the data. So what name is actually that endpoint for domain. Remember, we access it via blobs via HTTP or HTTPS. So whatever we access via HTTP or HTTPS, underneath you access it with the web service kind of pipe, and web service access happens through the endpoint. So you create an endpoint for the domain, and by default, Microsoft says that you will have core Windows.net as the namespace. Namespace will gather all your endpoints together. So what you will do, you will create a storage account name. You will name it somehow. You will create, and then it adds to the end. It adds to the main extension. So now, after you created the name, Blob is a resource. Okay. Azure itself has several iterations. If you started with Azure when it just came out, it had a very different look and feel. There was something that was called Azure in the beginning, and now we call it Azure Classic. And the Classic allows you to do a bit different connection and looks and feel. But if you have your applications that you already started in Classic, you can choose a resource as a Classic. But if you are new, please choose just normal, by default, normal resource that's called resource management. Okay. Now, account kind. For the account kind, you will have a drop down here, and it will say either you want to have a general purpose account or blob storage. And the difference between general purpose and blob storage is the general purpose will allow you to have containers for 4 different types: for files, for blob, for queries, and I don't remember what else. Files, blob, queries, and one more type. Don't remember which one. But for the purposes of today's presentation, we will just concentrate on a blob account. We will not do general purpose. So when you choose the blob storage, you can choose the rest of the fields from down. And performance field just specifies whether you want to have a premium performance or the regular standard performance. Premium means you are hitting solid-state drive disks, and you pay a lot of money. If this is something your organization allows, I highly recommend it, because with the Blob you have a lot of data. The faster it goes, the better you are. But if you can't have it, you can just use the standard one. Also, the next field is the replication, and it has an amount of choices, but it basically tells you which zone you replicate to underneath in Azure. Next is a secure transfer enabled, and it tells you whether you add this little s, which is secure with certificate, at the end of the AlwaysTTP. So that you choose the secure protocol with the certificate encryption, and basically all your data in a blob, it moves encrypted. If you choose HTTP, it moves faster and non-encrypted. So if you don't have any sensitive data, you can use HTTPS. For the CRM 2016, I would not know. Actually, I would have to check on it. All right, so I don't have any other questions. Okay, now control access, provisioning, and billing with our blobs. You will choose a subscription for that. Okay, you will have a list of subscriptions. I only have one. I used to have several, but right now I only have one. And for resource group, you can either create new or use existing resource group. I already have resource groups. Basically, every time I create something in Azure, either a virtual machine or a blob or a SQL server itself, I will create a resource group in which all these machines or storages are grouped together. It's very handy for management. For example, for the purposes of today's demo, I have created a demo SSIS resource group, and everything that I would like to do today will go into storage for demo SSIS resource group. For me, the best location, of course, is Western United States, but maybe you are in Australia, and then you will choose the Australia, and more than one. So basically, these are your geographical zoning on Azure resources, and you would like to choose the one that's closest to your user, not to you. For example, I can code in Western United States, but my user is in New York, so I will choose the Eastern because this is where I'm hosting, so it's faster for them. I am sure that majority of you know that stuff already. I'm just making sure that we are thorough on the details. And virtual networks. It says preview, but you can actually configure virtual networks. So if you make it enabled, then you get to enter virtual network configurations. What is virtual networks and how are they used in Azure? Well, you can create just specific domains for your business, and you can separate your user groups into those domains, into those subnetworks, right? And subnetworks, they are there for your users. So if your organization HR doesn't need to know what happens in production, then, or production rather doesn't know what happens in HR, then you create virtual networks. Also, virtual networks are used extensively with Internet of Things, with hub and spoke. Hub and spoke is an architecture when you have a central master and a lot of hubs. Azure utilizes that architecture, and you manage the domains again with virtual networks. All right. So after you have named something and created the blob and named it, you will click on create. I will not click on create now, but it will create a resource for you, and you can find it through the resource groups. So this is where we are going. We are going into resource groups. So what does my presentation say? Okay, here we go. And my presentation says now, as we got into resource groups, let me show you how it looks like. So my resource group is called demo SSIS, and in this resource group, I have created 2 containers. So I have created two resources, and each resources have containers. So what you do, you first create a container which will hold all your blobs together. So the structure is like this. You will have an account. Account will have container, and container will have blobs. So why don't we go into something that's called Explorer for Azure? You will find it on top of the menu. So while I'm on menus, let's look at the menu over to the left and on top. So what do we have in the menu? On the left is that you have overview, you have activity log, which tells you what you did with your blobs. I mean, it keeps your log of your activities. Access control via IAM. I have several people who can access my stuff. We have tags, which are name value pairs that enable you to do categories for resources. Okay, so if you have a lot of resources, you work for Hewlett-Packard or Microsoft or Disney, I don't know, bigger organization, and you have a lot of different resources, thousands of them, and you want to categorize them based on different things like organization, or you want to name them based on how new it is, date-based. You create all these tags like February resources, January resources, or HR resources, and such and such. And then you have a diagnostic tool. And now you have settings. And settings is important because settings have something that you need to know. You have to know where your access key is. And we will be setting up log, I'll get to it. But this is where you get your access key for the blogs. We have configuration, which is standard configuration for now. If you want to create your own custom domain, you can create one and then map existing one to your custom domain. You can make sure that you do you create encryption on the storage. Azure CDN is content delivery network. It has endpoints. This is not that often used. You can add Azure search. You can share access signature, and you can do a lot of other things. Let me go with the metrics. Sorry, it takes time. Azure is loading quite a bit. So if you look at the metrics on a blog, for example, and let's look at the container count, for example, you will have like one container at different time of the day. So I started at 6 p.m. yesterday, and I created container on Tuesday. No container, but at some point it was created. Okay, somewhere here at the very end it was created. Okay, so there are metrics. In the last 24 hours, it updates every single thing. You can know when you edit. You can look at the block capacity. Come on. And it tells you how much it has now. And you can look whether it's average or min-max. See, the max was 538. Mean was 0. So basically, you have some pretty cool reporting to on those. Okay. So we are coming back to our overview window for the blobs. Blobs are fascinating. While it's loading, why don't I tell you more about the blobs? Okay. According to Microsoft and according to .NET Code, you can have 3 types of blobs. You will have blobs that are called block blobs, blobs that are called append blobs, and blobs that are called page blobs. So to the left you see block and append blob, and to the right I created a page blob, but it's a sequential access blob. To the left are blobs that are not sequential. Page one are random access blobs. The block blobs and append blobs are sequential access blobs. So these are good for big files that you need to process in the streaming mode. The page blobs are good for the files that you will be seeking and changing in a fast mode. So block append blobs are usually text binary files that keep documents and media and made of blocks. And append block blobs are optimized for writing, and append blobs are optimized for append operations. And append block blob has 550,000 blocks, or blocks up to 100 megabytes each. Basically, it can keep up to 475 terabytes, and append blobs currently can keep up to 195 gigabytes. However, when I started researching it, and I was trying to show you the operation on different types of blobs, I discovered that Microsoft only has supported with SSIS the block blob. So I was not able to create an append scenario for you. But I will show you the blob, okay? And I will be keeping searching. I will access Microsoft. No, Microsoft doesn't have it documented, but I will access Microsoft and ask them what's deal with append blobs. Maybe they will come up with the feature, or maybe they will tell me what I missed. But meanwhile, I'll show you the operations on the blobs for the SSIS. So what I did, I clicked on a container. My container currently contains 2 blobs, example and example template txt. Okay. Now, before I move there, there is an ability to what they say: open an explorer, create extra container, refresh, move, and delete storage account. So I already created the container, and I did open the explorer. When you click on open an explorer, it takes some time, and it asks you to install some service pack if you don't have it for Azure. Please agree and install the service pack. To open the explorer takes a couple minutes. So I have it open already for us. Explorer helps you to go through all your resources in a structured way with a kind of more friendly user interface and more features here. We are currently in my network, Microsoft Partner Network, and in the storage accounts we have HHBlob, the one that you see here, and in blob containers there are those 2 files. You can see them here, but you can't open files in the Azure portal. In order to see what's in the files, you can go to your Explorer. And actually, Explorer allows you to open the file. It cached it on my desktop. So currently, this is what we have in the file, which is called example.txt. How did I get it to the Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer? I cheated. I uploaded with this button. The very first file that has a template, I uploaded with the upload button. However, SSIS, excuse me, I'm getting into Microsoft Visual Studio now, SSIS, in the control flow, has introduced Azure Blob upload task and Azure Blob download task. It also has introduced Azure HD Insight and SQL Warehouse, Azure SQL Warehouse tasks for upload and for query HD Insight. But let's concentrate on Blob. So it has upload task and download task. What it doesn't have, as you can see, it doesn't have a function that allows you to delete the files. And you can actually delete files or containers from here. You just right click and it allows you to download, look at the properties, edit metadata, acquire leads, and delete. And if you want to delete from SSIS, you're out of luck. So you still have to have the container access. Okay. After you have uploaded or created task and uploaded via SSIS, now you may want to populate the blob. So what I did, I created a file which currently has the same data, but we will change the data in a second, and we will upload. So what I did, I created a flat file connection manager, and I created a sample file, and I created Azure Blob destination. You have the Azure Blob source when you can pull data out of a blob, and you can have Azure Blob destination. When you open the editor for the Azure Blob destination, you will see that you can create an Azure Storage Connection Manager. We will get to it in a second. You have to specify the container and the blob name. Also, you can choose from the blob format. Currently, it's either text or Avro. Avro is the format that supports JSON. And in a text, you can say which delimiter you are using. And you also can say that when you upload the file, your column names will be in the first data row. It's very similar to flat file destination per se, right? Except you don't specify the data types because they are irrelevant in this particular case. What you can do, you can compress file. Is the different compression types. I'm not going to compress it because my file is very small. And you can choose the level of compression too. Optimal and fastest are two different things because fastest is just brute force through. Optimal allows you to adjust to the network resource because you will be uploading via network into Azure. Okay. Right. Microsoft doesn't let us forget about its existence. So we will be uploading the file that has three columns: ID, name, and city. So what happens here, you have a flat file, and you have your mapping, and you just map the columns that you want to upload. So far, it's very familiar, very similar to the existing flat file source, right? So let's look at the connection manager though. What is there in a connection manager? Remember, I told you that it's very important to remember where the keys are. So this is where you use the key. You have to specify that you want to use Azure account, for example. Then you say that you want to have storage account name, and your storage account name is here. I'm sorry, let me go back here in overview. It doesn't load. Or it's either slow or it doesn't load. But storage account name is basically this account, right? Remember the structure account name, then there is a container, and within the containers there are files. So the storage account name is here. And the storage account name, remember we talked about the keys, access keys. This is a big key that allows you to copy, that you will copy and you will place in here for the account key. And here you can specify that you want to use a secure HTTP. And it will ask you to provide either default or China or other. And if you click other, you will have to specify the domain here. There are two domains now. And as we know by default, the domain, which is your namespace, and which is your namespace for the Azure connections, is core windows.net. So if you test the connection, right? And we will say, okay. Now we are all set to run and upload our blob into Azure. And I will go into my file, my Windows Explorer, into my file. I will take the example and I will change the name of the city to something. I'll save the file, and we will run this task. Execute the package. Keeping our fingers crossed, it didn't take that long, even though it goes into Azure. Let's see what happened now with the file in our container, with the blob in our container. See how it was? It used to be Los Angeles and Orange County and Chicago. Now it's no longer is Chicago, it's she and Orange and Los Angeles. So basically, the upload happened successfully. We uploaded the new values. Okay, this is our introduction to blobs. I was trying very hard to append multiple files. I created a blob of a append type, and I was trying to move them in a loop, but I didn't succeed with the append type of blob. If I succeed, I'll let you know how to do it. But right now, we are using the block type of blob, and it seems to be working. Okay. Let me check how we are on time. Okay, we need to speed up a little bit more for always-on encryption. All right, always-on encryption. I think I have already talked about always-on encryption before, so I will give you a very, very quick update. Okay, question. Yes, the first part is already online. The first part, it's online. Ask Steve, he will send you the link. So going to always-on encryption, I have to set you up the encryption. I will do a quick reminder coming back to the presentation. So what's always-on encryption is a new feature in SQL Server 2016 when Microsoft introduced a unified encryption model on the level of the fields. What happens with Microsoft always-on encryption? What you do, you create a specific key with which you encrypt other keys, and other keys actually help you to encrypt the columns. But you can now see the complete schema and encrypt those columns deterministically, consistently, or randomly, based on the algorithm of your choice. And those who have the keys, they will see unencrypted data. Those who don't have the key, they will see encrypted data. And you can do it with different storage vaults for the keys. So currently Microsoft has two types. One of them is Azure storage vault, key vault. And one of them is the key vault that you keep on premises on your client. And SSIS is the client. So when you access Microsoft SQL Server, you access it via a specific communications protocol. It's called the data stream protocol. But what happens, how you communicate from the client. You can't straight go to engine and start issuing the binary commands. So when you work with the SQL Server, familiar SQL Server Management Studio, is the most useful tool for DBAs. So if you create the keys, oftentimes you create them through the management studio, and they are kept later on. They are kept in the master database. Okay, they're kept in the master database in different places. There are different keys. When you allow encryption, you enforce encryption on a database layer. So let me show you how would you do it. So what I did, I created a script. I'm not going to run it because I will be out of time. But in the essence, I created an encrypted database, which is called EncryptedDB. I created a table which has two columns, name and social security number, and inserted one record into it. And I encrypted it. And in order to encrypt it, I used SQL Server Management Studio to configure it. So what you do, you go to the database, you right-click on it, and you say that you want to see the encryption. Excuse me. Encryption. Where did it go? Right click. Tasks. I lost it. Manage encryption. It's a database encryption. It's a different encryption. Sorry. My apologies. Task encrypt columns should be tasks encrypt columns, and I don't see it because I already had them encrypted. Let me see if the sensitive data is actually having the encrypted columns. Okay. Oh, I am in master database. That's why I don't see anything. Okay, that's nice to know. So if I am not in a master database, and I look at the sensitive data, okay, I have those things encrypted. If anybody sees encrypted columns, tell me because I don't see them. And you should be able to see that. And it's on a database layer. One more time, or maybe on a different database, you'll see them. I don't see them either. So something happened to my script. Somebody is asking a question.
In the bottom of the list, and it's the table there.
That again? It's in the bottom of the list. I just cannot see because it cuts, right?
It might be it, yeah.
Okay. So I can see it because it cuts, and in order to see it, I'm going to try to move it a bit up. There is manage database encryption, but it has to say encrypt columns, and I cannot see encrypt columns. But somebody saw encrypt columns, okay? So if you guys saw it, that's great. I'm sorry. I click on the table. It's on the table level. Come on. It's not on the table. It's on a database layer, and there you will see the whole. You will see the whole. It used to be here, but I already encrypted it. So, but it's a different. This is different encryption. This is not the columns. It says an option encrypt columns. Okay, and since I already encrypted it, maybe it disappeared. Okay. Let's see what happens next. But we have encrypted columns here. And what we do now, because we have key is on this machine, on my client machine. Let me go further, and then I will investigate the mystery if I have time of disappeared option of encrypting data. What you will have to do is now you want to retrieve data from your encrypted columns. And key, remember, is in the key vault in the client on your machine, your desktop. So what you do, you create a 8.0 source, you go to encrypt the database, and you look at sensitive data. And if you just created the source, your social security is encrypted. All right, okay, cancel it. So in order to do it decrypted, how would you do it? You will go to the connection manager, and you go to all the properties. Please, there are two properties: column encryption setting for always on encryption. It has to be enabled. And there is another option which called encrypt. Please don't click on this one, because it relates to SSL encryption, encryption when you move data on and off. Okay, so what you do, you enable the column encryption setting. If you enable column encryption setting and you click on your AZO.NET source and preview again, it didn't do it again. Did I save? Yeah, still disabled. I didn't say enabled. Now it's enabled. Let's do it again. Yeah, now you can see them decrypted. What it did, it retrieved the key, and it allowed it to run. What happens if you need to access your encrypted database from a different machine with SSIS? This is not that simple as it seems. You will have to move your security certificate to access the keys. And I have a script for that that I'm going to show you in a second. So what I did, I created an always encrypted guide how to move the certificate. And in order to do that, you have to encrypt from your encrypted columns, you should select local machine for the master key source. Then you will need to get the certificate, and in order to do that, you have to run, for example, a PowerShell command. PowerShell command that allows you to retrieve certification from local machine, and it will find your created certificate for always on encrypted. You can see it here. Then you will have to get the certificate that you know is on your machine with its name, and copy the thumbprint. And you do it with another command, PowerShell command, that allows you to copy the certificate, and you can copy it to the machine that you want to connect, from machine that you want to connect. And on the target, you will just insert it into local machine certificates, okay? And this will allow you to deal with the keys that are not currently any longer stored on your machine, but are stored on a different machine. So I am sorry for the gaffer with encryption keys. I don't know what I did, but there is an option when your database is not encrypted. There is an option that allows you to get those keys. I apologize for Microsoft, but unfortunately, this is the only way I can do it fast, because I don't have much time to figure out why it doesn't show. But on your machines, it might show. Something happened just to my client, okay? Because other people checked it and they told me that they saw it. So now to finish, I also will give you one hint for the SSIS. As I said, what's important here is you know which encryption you are invoking, okay? Encryption again, column encryption setting difference from encrypt setting. They're together because they're in security session. It's very confusing, but if you click on encrypt, it might give you an error. So don't click on encrypt, okay? Let's say I enabled SSL encryption. I said okay, And right now, my connection is just out of commission. Okay, so remember, column encryption settings is your setting. I think I managed to do it in 1 hour. Click table of interest and encrypt calls, but I did it and I didn't see it. Okay, I think I managed to do it in 1 hour. You will find the setting. I can see it on the table. I do believe it is on the database layer level. So I think I managed in 1 hour. Do we have any other questions? I did very detailed description, and now we don't have questions. So now I know we can do 2 features in 1 hour. I think I'm done with the presentation. So if you have any more questions or want me to do things for you, more things for you, you can ask me. You can write me at virginia@maskme.net, and from there we go.
Thank you, Virginia.
Nice to see.
That was very good, very detailed. We really appreciate it, and you have a. We'll have this probably uploaded by tonight, and then tomorrow, if there's any other questions, we'll pass them on to you. Do you want to add the slides or any scripts? If you do, just send them to us.
I will add them. Please explore the encrypted options because it's there. I don't know what happened to my particular slide.
Somebody suggested to check the version of SSMS you're using.
No. I had it in the morning before I prepared for your presentation. It did show. It just something happened after I ran the SSIS. It removed it from the list of options of tasks, because I did check that it was there. I do test my presentations.
Well, that's always the perils of live demos. Sometimes things happen, and when you've got a lot of people watching, it's tough to find it. I can understand that.
Yes, I will share my demo files. I will send it to Steve. Steve will upload as a package, or you can ask him. How do you want to upload the package that has the scripts on? You
can just zip it up, send it to us, and we'll set it up to where people can unload it, download it.
Will do.
Okay. Next week we will be having another session. Actually, 2 more sessions for December. Let's see, December 12th. Kevin Klein Down Under on Monday night, Tuesday night or Tuesday during the day in Australia. 10 Surprising Performance Killers, and then the next day will be Microsoft SQL Server Tiger team will be introducing SQL Operations Studio, talking more in depth about it. It was introduced at PASS, so they're going to go more in depth. Just as a preview, we have got this all-star lineup starting for the first of the year. We've got Kimberly Tripp with Statement Execution and Plan Cache. We've got let's see, Eric. I'm trying to remember his last name. He works with Brent Ozar.
Steve.
Yes. Okay. That's the Junior DBA workout plan. And let me see. Oh, I'll just send it out. But anyway, we've got Jez Borland, Aaron Stellato, Glenn Berry twice, Tim Radney, Brent Ozar, Paul Randall, Kendra Little, and then we get into the second half of the year. But anyway, it's really good. So anyway, I think I'll let you go. Part 1 video. Okay, we'll make sure there's no questions. Okay. Okay. We will see you next week. Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Virginia.
Bye.
Bye.